Alright, so for this deck, Buster Blader, the Destruction Swordmaster, his effect wasn't really working correctly, just kind of a pain in the ass. His effect is supposed to work. If an opponent's monster is destroyed by battle or a card effect, you can add it to him as an equip card. And his other effect does work, but his first effect, which doesn't work, is kind of a huge deal. But his other one is you can send a monster equipped to him to the graveyard to destroy all monsters your opponent controls. And if you use that effect to destroy all of his monsters, then his first effect will take place and you can steal one of his cards and equip it. It'd be really useful if his first effect actually was working, but it doesn't. And the deck worked okay-ish, I guess, anyway. The Buster Blader, the new support cards, they kind of revolve around turning your opponent's monsters into dragon types, and then using Buster Blader's effect that way. That's why I have DNA Surgery in here. It'd be really cool if they had like a zombie world, but for dragons. They don't, but that would be really nice. The Synchro Monster Buster Dragon, when it's out, basically... all monsters your opponent controls become dragon type. Once per turn, if you do not control a Buster Blader monster, you can target one Buster Blader in your graveyard, special summon it. Once per turn during your opponent's turn, you can target one Buster Blader monster you control. Equip one Destruction Sword monster from your graveyard to that target. Oh, I had no idea about its first effect. You know, this is what I get for not reading card effects. I just kind of threw it in because I knew it turned him into dragon types, and I knew about its second effect. I didn't know you could actually special summon Buster Bladers from the graveyard. Whatever. I also went in to Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro and changed the dimensions for these because this one wasn't showing the picture for it, and I didn't want to draw another one like I did with the Shinra Nui monsters. I mean, his card art looks pretty cool. That's why it's in Japanese, in case you were wondering, because I went in and grabbed from a website and changed the dimensions and inputted it manually. Okay, so anyways, with the Buster Blader cards, I just went with the Magician Engine because it's the best way to actually get out level 7 monsters from your hand. And it worked out pretty damn well. Magicians are really good. The actual Destruction Swordmaster cards, 2 of them are level 1 tuners, which is good because you need that in order to go into your Buster Dragon. This one also has a really good effect where when it's normal summoned, you can just straight up search out any of your Buster Blader cards, be it the Spell and Trap card, the other Swordmaster cards, or just Buster Blader himself. Really good. He can also tribute himself to special summon a Buster Blader from your hand or graveyard. Also, if this card's in the graveyard and you control Buster Blader, you can discard one of your other Destruction Swordmaster cards to special summon him. So he's really good. The other ones aren't as good. That's why there's only one of each of them. Basically, they can attach themselves to Buster Blader and they have some neat effects. One of them, your opponent can't special summon from the extra deck, which is pretty nice. Another one, your opponent can't activate card effects in the graveyard, which is really good too. And the other one is it just negates the effects of your opponent's face-up spell and trap cards, which is not as good, but if you're going against pendulum decks, it's pretty good. Alright, and then for the spell and trap cards themselves, there's only 2 of them. One of them is basically like a super poly, where you can use your opponent's dragon-type monsters to go into the only fusion summon card, which you need a Buster Blader and 1 dragon-type monster. So if you're able to turn your opponent's monsters into dragon types with either DNA Surgery or Buster Dragon, you can just use this card because it's quick play to fuse your opponent's monster and your Buster Blader go into this guy who can't attack directly, which kind of sucks. But he has basically a permanent lose 1 turn effect for dragon-type monsters your opponent controls, where they're changed to defense position and they can't activate their effects, which is awesome. He also does piercing damage. He gains 1,000 attack and defense for every dragon-type monster your opponent controls are in the graveyard, but he can't attack directly. But the fact that he can do piercing damage makes that really a non-issue. He's got to be careful when you use him. So he's actually pretty damn good if you're able to turn your opponent's monsters into dragon types. That's why I'm running triple DNA Surgery, because if this guy's out, my opponent's not going to be able to do anything with his monsters, which is really good. And then we've got Destruction Sword Flash. Not that great of a card. Basically, if you control your fusion monster, you can destroy all your opponent's monsters. Actually, what is its full effect? If you control a fusion monster that has Buster Blader listed as a fusion material, banish all monsters your opponent controls. When exactly one Buster Blader monster you control is targeted by a card effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard, negate the effect, and if you do, destroy it. Ooh, that second effect's really good. It's basically like Skill Prisoner, but for Buster Blader cards only. Huh, not half bad. It's a little bit better than I thought it was. Oh, also, the basic... bullshit. What it is called again? Miracle Fusion? Not Miracle Fusion. Destruction Swordmaster Fusion, whatever. You can just add this card to your hand by basically discarding them on a card and just adding it back, so you can reuse it as much as you want, which is cool, I guess. It's not really that useful though. All right, so that's pretty much the deck.